Welcome to the Get Unbusy podcast. I'm your host, Kate Philpott, and this podcast is all about throwing your busy work out the window. You deserve to stay locked in on the parts of your business that light a fire under your hoo-ha, all right? The passion-driven freedom lifestyle, not being glued to your laptop every waking minute of the day. It's time to build a business that works for you, not one that works you into the ground. So, let's get unbusy, shall we? Hello and welcome back to the Get Unbusy podcast. I'm your host, Kate Philpott, and this is probably going to go in a very different direction than you expected it to go. So I'm going to start out with basically this massive clarity that I got recently on like core values and stuff. I know that already sounds like boring. There's a reason I'm talking about this, and it's literally gonna bring me onto the conversation of like extending your lifespan. Okay, so like hold your horses, hold on to your seats, hold my earrings. Okay, so recently I did a journaling exercise that helped me map out my 5 core values, and really when I zoomed out and looked at life as a whole, it was very clear to me what they were. Freedom is one. Time, financial, geographical freedom in order to live every day how I choose to rather than how I should or how I have to. Number 2, self-mastery, personal growth, learning languages, studying, like that kind of stuff, mindset, growth, things like that. So important to me. Integrity, basically just so that there's no integrity gap between what I say and what I do, both publicly and privately, professionally and personally. That just causes stress and anxiety, and I'm not here for that. Love, which, I mean, I'm gonna be a sappy little bitch. It makes the world go around. All types of love infused in every conversation, sending love to people who are holding a lot of negative energy, and so on and so forth, like mean drivers on the road, driving up your ass. Maybe send them a bit of love, even though it's the last thing you want to do. But the last one is the beginning of this conversation, okay? And the last one is longevity. So health and wellness, but beyond the typical of just looking good or feeling good for right now and like having abs or a juicy butt or whatever, even though I want a juicy butt. So the most important thing to me in relation to my health and wellness is I want to live to over 100 healthily and still be strong, fit and mobile. I still want to be able to go on adventures, release more books, work on more creative projects, go roller skating, what have you. Like, obviously putting aside the possibility that any day could potentially be our last, because you literally could be hit by a truck or, you know, murdered or something, you know, fingers crossed and like touch wood, that doesn't happen. Knock down wood. But like, there are certain things that you can do to not only be healthy, but to expand your lifespan. I'm here for lifespan expansion, please. That sounds pretty fucking cool to me. So, I want to talk, let's actually just break this conversation open, right? Why am I even saying this as a potential thing to strive for? First things first, more time to live out your potential. I know you feel this in the past couple of years, especially in entrepreneurship. Everything is so success driven, so like hitting a goal in as short a time as possible. Like when you intentionally extend your lifespan, you're not just buying more years, you're buying more capacity. Every year of extra good health gives you more time to build the things that matter, a business that compounds, relationships that deepen further, more experiences with your loved ones, projects that would otherwise be like ideas you took to the graveyard, which is literally like dagger in the heart. That is my worst nightmare. Like, think about the amount of times that you've said, I'll get to that someday. And the morbid truth is that someday only happens if you're still here. And not just still here, but like not able to do anything, but still here with the energy and strength and clarity to actually do it. A longer, healthier life literally expands the timeline that you have to make your vision real. Longevity is leverage. Like, if you are strong and still able to focus and still creative at like 70, 80, 90 plus, you have a massive edge. You get to compound your effort and experience over decades instead of burning out really young. that truly means getting more out of your life, because you're not just working harder and faster, but you're still in the game when most people have either tapped out or burnt out or literally died. It's the long game of freedom. And I think this conversation is something that people need to talk about more. Not enough people are having this conversation. My dream is to be financially capable of retiring at 45, but energetically capable of working until I'm 90 or older. That way, the majority of my life is purely me working because I love what I'm creating and I want to do the things I want to do. But there's no external pressure of having to pay the bills because the bills are sorted. I think that would align with the true freedom to like have the chokehold of bills gone. Let's just sit with that for a second. The next thing I want to talk about though is if you live longer healthily, you give yourself more time to actually master your craft rather than rushing through it. Most people spend their first decade of business or creativity just figuring themselves out. I know you did that. Your 20s, back in the day, your 20s used to be when you fully got your career up and running. Nowadays, we're still finding ourselves. We're only fully up and running in our 30s. In your 20s, half your friends are like backpacking through Southeast Asia. The other half are scrimping and saving to buy a home. And there's a few others having babies. And then there's a few others who are like, I don't know, smoking weed at some house party, after party even, at like 4 a.m. Like this means most of us are not fully up and running until we're in our 30s, really. But imagine, instead of feeling like you've got a 20-year window to really make it, what if you had like 60 plus years? 60 plus good years to evolve through like multiple versions of yourself and multiple versions of your work. I just think that is a conversation most people are not ready for because we demonize work. Like we respond to what's your dream job with I don't dream of labor without realizing that we're talking about the work that brings you purpose, not the work that puts you in pure survival mode. Those are two completely different things. And we dream about retiring early so that we can go and lounge on a beach somewhere. But realistically, A, that gets boring faster than you think. And I'll explain that in just a minute. And B, the older you get, and the less energy you'll have to go places and do things. Oh, I always rejected the idea of you'd be surprised how bored you'll get when you're lounging on a beach, because that always sounds like pure bullshit when you are working full time and you're tired and you would give anything to just disconnect for an undefined period of time. But we only want it so bad because we can't have it. When that's your reality every single day, the mystique is gone. It's relaxing for a while, I'm sure. But then you start going, what is the point in anything? There was a couple of weeks ago, I had a heavy call day after a bad night's sleep. And all I wanted that day, all day, was just to snuggle up in a duvet, watch a Pixar movie. Of course it was. And then I finished my call, and like, that was my decision. I was like, once I wrap up these calls, I'm getting my dinner, and I am doing that. I am wrapping myself in a duvet, and I'm watching a Pixar movie. I had the evening free, so once I did finish my calls, I went to go do that. But as soon as I did have the evening free and like my time was my own again, I no longer cared about watching a Pixar movie, even though I had dreamed of it all day. And it's very interesting how our minds work like that. I just didn't care anymore because I was like, okay, well, I can now. And now I'm fine. So the same things apply for when you are like, I just want to retire and go lounge on a beach. Yeah, of course, you need a holiday, but you don't need to like retire, because like you're gonna find that you just have no purpose. There was actually, who was it? The original founder of Loom sold the company, and now he's in a really weird place where he's like, I don't know what to do. I think he's only like in his 20s or 30s. He's really young. He's a multi-millionaire. And he's like, I'm just like depressed because what do I do? Like, what is my purpose every day? If you're 30 years old right now, you've almost lived 11,000 days of your life, Without getting too morbid here, there is something to be said for taking control back of your own time. Nobody wants to get to 80 years old and realize that they never went on that 6-week trip they always wanted to, or they never wrote that book, or never made it to the level of visibility and recognition that they always strived for. And improving your skill of productivity doesn't mean increasing your ability to work harder and faster when you don't want to. That is literally the opposite of what I teach. Getting productive is what gives you the ability to turn a weekly 2-hour task into a 15-minute task, and to work no longer than 20 hours a week unless you deeply, deeply want to, and even match your tasks with the right energy level. So let me guess, you started this business to have freedom. The freedom to work from anywhere, for there to be no limit to the amount of money that you could make, and to not have to work a full-time job. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, how did this turn into a full-time or even more than full-time job? When you have your own business, you are the one who decides your schedule. But most of us were never equipped with the skill to make proper use of that, to minimize and automate the busy work, or to map out our weekly schedule to how we actually want to live. And in case you thought that you could hustle your way out of the overwhelm and the heaviness, all this is doing is reteaching you that hustle is the only way, and that you have to earn even 2 hours off on a Friday afternoon. And frankly, there's honestly never been a more important time to grasp your time back than right now, today, because every single day that you work in the old way of functioning, you could be clocking up tens, hundreds of future hours that you'll no longer have to work, because the admin is streamlined and processes happen automatically, and you no longer have to keep on top of 25 things at once. It was never meant to be that complicated. So even if one sentence of this is resonating, know that there is a reason for that. I've been where you are. I've found the way to a life that's productive and flexible and still full of passion and fulfillment. And that's exactly what my productivity membership Work Smart Academy will teach you to do. We have snappy 45-minute calls every week, alternating between planning sessions and business refinement sessions. You'll get access to binge-worthy trainings like automated money stuff, the master plan workshop, and how to plan your high impact workday in just 15 minutes. There are new drops every month, as well as access to ask me questions directly each month so that I can coach you through your productivity roadblocks. And we've got an entire Q&A database with every single question I've ever answered in the membership as well. So you might even get to resolve your issue before you've even asked. You'll also gain access to the Systems Hub, which is a vault of done-for-you systems like SOPs, template banks for running your business, automations, and so on to reduce your workload in less time. And I've recently added AI prompts to help you personalize those to your business even faster. So that means you're getting your entire productivity and lifestyle transformation for only $37 a month. Need I say more? I cannot wait to see you in there and get you experiencing life and business how you've always actually wanted to. The link to join us is in the show notes below. And anyway, when you get to approach your work in a way that short-term thinkers never experience, there's no rush. You're no longer panicking to make it before you hit a certain age. You're literally playing the infinite game, because why would you want to stop? And then every project becomes like a foundation for the next one. And you just keep getting better and better and better, which of course in itself brings more accolades. Oh my God, I can talk about that. I just, more of us need to be having these conversations younger. I don't think this would have landed for me if I had heard it 3, 4, 5 years ago. As I am now approaching my 30th birthday, slowly but surely, it's next year, I'm like, I am really seeing life differently. You know what I do want to talk about though? Let's talk about the cash money, honey. So financially, if we go back to the original value that I'm talking about, longevity, financially, longevity gives you something that most people never ever get, which is literal time in the industry, time in the market, in your earning years, right? And in your investments, of course, because your investment portfolio, if you're investing, compounds like crazy the longer you own it. But if you stay healthy and mentally sharp for longer, you have more years to create, to invest, to pivot where needed, to grow your wealth. You're not actually in a race to just accomplish as much as possible before your body gives out. And if you're still active and intentional into your 70s, 80s, 90s and beyond, your investments, your assets, and your impact are still compounding while most people have dropped off. We're coming at life from a totally different angle now. You're still building, but you're building from a place of overflow. Again, it's working because you want to create something, not because you have to. Not by sprinting in your 30s and collapsing in your 50s and 60s. Like, it's literally you staying in the game long enough for your smart moves to just multiply. Longevity makes you financially secure. I will fucking take that. One of the biggest advantages to living longer healthily is that you simply outlast the competition. Most people are willing to give their dreams a maximum of like 3 to 5 years, and then they quit long before they actually ever achieve them. That to me is the saddest thing in the world, because what is the alternative? You just settle for the life that you think is realistic, that actually doesn't fulfill you. Oh, no. Not in my world, baby. Like, I'd be lying if I said that my business growth hasn't been slower than I wanted or expected. Yeah, I've had a lot to learn. And looking back at Kate 7 years ago in her first business, I now know that it kind of wouldn't make sense for her to just shoot up to crazy income, because she actually wasn't ready to handle it. She was a little too sensitive, to be honest. But this is exactly why I don't give a flying falula how many group calls I host. Group calls with like the bunny ears that have 1 or 2 or 3 people show up. This is a rite of passage, I think. We see these high-level webinars with like thousands of people online at the same time, and it's very inspiring. You're looking at this like, wow, like they must be making so much money because look at how many people are just on this thing. But then we don't give our poor small audience the chance to grow that it actually needs. I'll tell you one thing, it defo won't grow if you give up. Oh, you know what? Let's even take the example of podcasting. The stats about this blow my mind. I actually cannot fucking believe this. And it makes my heart so sad. So 90% of podcasts don't even make it past episode 3. 3. That's 1.8 million who quit before they ever got any proper traction going or even a bit of a workflow going. And, oh my God, of the 200,000 who do keep going, another 90% quit before episode 20. So that means that to be in the top 1% of all podcasts in the world, all you need to do is publish 21 or more episodes. Oh my God, like, your competition is not the 10 million people who start a podcast. It's the thousands of people who don't stop. And I know that still sounds like a lot, thousands, but guess what? You niche down, you're amazing at what you do. Consistency, even of those thousands, there will be plenty who stop when they reach like even 100 or a couple of hundred. We've only looked at the stats up to 20 episodes. So like, let's not be like, oh my God, that means everybody else is... And listen, I started this podcast in March 2025 and I'm still a baby podcaster. But I believe this episode is going to be episode 38. And I don't have any intention of slowing down, so don't you worry. But like, the same rule applies to everything in life and in business. Most people are burning out because they push themselves so hard, because they're super driven, because they see the other side of what this could be like for them, the success, whatever. But then they give up because something isn't working, or they lose motivation before the consistency actually compounds into something incredible. That's why I'm no longer impressed by the posts saying, I had my first 100k month in my 5th month of business. Because honestly, good for you. That is incredible. But I've worked my ass off too, and I haven't had that. So while I 100% respect the graft, I have the hindsight now to know that staying power, when it looks like the results aren't coming, that's even more impressive. When you zoom out far enough, I don't think the goal is to be the fastest to reach a target anymore. It's to be the one that's still standing, still creating, still playing the same game decades later, or, you know, being better at it. That's fucking staying power. And there's a mindset element to that, with like staying in it when it looks like nobody gives a flying falula, combined with the physical element where you literally live longer as a strong, healthy individual. You wanted more to life, you motherfucking got it. Like, that is what I'm talking about here. And when I say the physical, I haven't even given like the strategy here. And to be honest, I'm not the person to do that. I'm researching it for myself. But a couple of things that kind of lead to that lifespan expansion is fasting is a big one. So I've actually recently started intermittent fasting again, slowly but surely building up the fasting period. Clean foods, of course. Exercise. You know what? Sometimes it's not even that complicated. It's literally like doing the basics better and you will live longer. It goes without saying, like, obviously smoking, drinking, drugs, all that stuff ain't gonna help you stay alive to over 100 as a healthy individual. But you know, you do you. I will see you here on my 100th birthday, if podcasts still exist, in like 70 years. And we'll see what episode I'm on then. What is it going to be like? Episode... I will see you here for episode 3540, okay? In 70 years. And we will talk about longevity then. Alright. So yeah. Raw, real conversation here. My points could have been better formulated, but I just want to open this one up because my Instagram handle is More to Life Kate. Yes, that does mean like reclaiming time, making more of your life right now, putting more things into your life right now that you find fulfilling, but also how much more can we get out of our life if we literally add decades to our life? That's more to life. Okay, I'm going to leave you with that. I will see you next week for another lovely little episode, and I hope you have a good one. Take care. Busy podcast. If you got some juicy golden nuggets from this episode, I want to hear about it. So take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at More to Life Kate, because your girl wants to know. And remember, you're an absolute powerhouse. You can create the life you've been dreaming of. And I can't wait to see you pop off. Chat to you soon. Bye.